Good evening. Welcome to Rodney Full Circle and another live stream. Tonight we're going to be talking about, let's see here if I can get it right, real results on carnivore. The big picture, let's try that again. Real results on carnivore. The big picture beginners need to hear. Tonight I want to focus on the on what beginners are needing to understand, and not just when you're like first starting out, first couple of weeks, but oftentimes I would say a year into it, you're going to be finding that you need to, okay, those of us who are starting out and have been in it for about a year, I would argue, are a beginner. And there's a lot of things that happens when we're dieting and when we are embarking upon this carnivore journey that can sometimes be really confusing. Either we're looking for something to happen quicker than our bodies are ready for, or man, sometimes our bodies just respond so quickly and we're not ready for it. And so we're going to be talking about tonight, and I'm expecting to go about 2 hours. Now, if you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and add those. Put them in the comment section periodically. I'll be looking down to see what comments there are. And if there are any questions, I will address them. But I have a whole list, a whole host of questions I'm going to be going through to try and talk on this topic. It's amazing when we are stuck and we get to, when we find something that maybe offers us some hope. There we go. I'm getting distracted by something on my screen, and I just gotta cover it up, or otherwise I can't stay focused. And that's one of the things that can happen when we're on any kind of journey, health, new career, building ourselves up to become better. We can get distracted by things, even things that are good, and in and of themselves are not bad. They can completely distract us. So one question I'm going to address right now is, how do we stay focused? How do we stay focused when we start something like a diet? One of the things I have found to be very helpful is to simplify my lifestyle, to simplify what it is I'm doing, and to have a very clear and specific goal, along with many steps that are simple along the way. We've heard this stuff before, but let's hear it again. If we have a clear goal and a simple goal, it's much easier to filter out the things that just don't matter. When I adopted the carnivore diet, I had one goal, the one thing I was trying to accomplish: to get control over losing weight. That's it. Anything that distracted beyond that, I actually just wasn't interested in, not to begin with. If I had gotten distracted with this, that, and the other thing, I would have gotten focused on multiple things to get multiple things not done. So I focused on one thing, and that was weight control. And it worked. It absolutely worked. I did not get deviated. Now, once I had the pattern, once I had that locked in, I'm like, yes, I know what to do. I'm doing this. Then I could move on to other good things. And a lot of it was just knowledge. So that's that. Now, in the thumbnail, you would have seen the real results. So here's the question connected to that. What does real results actually mean when it comes to health and the carnivore diet? I use the word real because it's like, what is actually attainable right here, right now, in the context that we are in. if all you're trying to do, mm, if we are focusing on losing weight, then the real results is that you actually will literally lose weight. And all you're going to have to do is pay attention to your waistline, the size, and your weight. I've learned though, you don't focus on any one thing by itself. The carnivore diet seems to streamline and keep things really simple so that you can get the results you're after without a whole bunch of jumping through hoops, jumping through a whole bunch of things that you need to do. Most diets seem to focus on a lot of exercise, starving, and very complicated recipes, along with a lot of supplements. And it at first will offer some benefits, but we get overwhelmed with the hunger. We get overwhelmed with the complication of the we get overwhelmed with the complication of the health lifestyle. When we are, let me see here, I'm losing my place. Let me try that again. The real results is actually obtaining and attaining what we set out to do and to find the simplest path to that. If we go vegan, that's a very complicated path. It's simple in its presentation, eat only plants, nothing from animals, but it's very complicated to execute. You require a huge variety of food and a lot of work in the kitchen to be able to make that food edible and to get the results you're after. If you go vegetarian, you can add a little bit of meat, or not meat, but animal product to that: milk, egg, cheese. But again, it's still very complicated when you're in the kitchen and all the food that you have to pay attention to be able to get all the nutrients that you need on top of the vitamins. You have to have vitamins. You have to have supplements in the vegan diet and in the vegetarian diet in order to gain any kind of good outcome, and then to sustain it. With the carnivore diet, I have found it way easier to sustain the weight loss and to gain a whole pile of other health benefits that previously I didn't have. So like I was dealing with huge, really bad heartburn. I didn't have to take extra medication. I didn't have to eat a lot of fancy foods to try and address the heartburn. I just changed over to eating meat. And when I did that, results just came on their own. I wasn't trying to overcome the heartburn. It just happened on its own. I wasn't trying to overcome my back pain. It just happened on its own, all by itself. Because all of a sudden I was eating in harmony with what my body actually needed. And so the weight loss also happened on its own. Here's what I mean. I never went to a gym and started up a gym membership to do a bunch of exercise to try and lose weight, to get control of the fat. I did not have to starve myself to overcome the fat. Instead, I just ate until I was full, and I did not go to a gym. In fact, my job is very sedentary. And I lost the weight. And it has, as long as I stayed with the diet, I didn't incorporate what caused me to get fat. As long as I stayed with the diet, the results stayed. It's very simple, and I like that. Why do so many people doubt themselves when they're starting something new? This is a big one. I was at a point of desperation when I got started on this, so the doubt came much later. But a lot of us at the beginning, it's like we have failed so many times. We didn't get to the obesity and the lack of health overnight. It was over time with the decision after decision after decision that led us to where we are overweight, and we have tried a multitude of different things to overcome the obesity and to get our health under control. But instead of getting our health under control, it doesn't work. And we start to believe the failures that we had in the past over a myriad of other things, and it colors our beliefs in what we're capable of doing now. And this is something I've definitely struggled with. I failed a lot in school, so how could I be successful in life over here? I failed a lot in life over here, so how could I be successful in life over here? And I'm learning. If we allow the bad things of our past to color the good things of our future, they will become bad things. In a lot of ways, it'll stop it from even happening. The good things will not be able to happen because we are bringing forward things from the past that weren't good. I'm learning. Focus on what you're trying to accomplish. In this case, losing weight, getting healthy. I'm going to focus on that. And so what if I wasn't successful back here? Change the way I was making decisions before, change the habits that I had before, and I will get to have the results I want today. I have to change those habits from before to get the outcomes I want today. And in connection to that, like the struggles we've had in the past, we've had a way of coping and how can I say, dulling the senses so that the pain of what we're dealing with is not so acute. And so another question that comes up is, what makes cravings feel so overwhelming at the beginning? When we have had a certain way of dealing with life and doing life, and then we suddenly make a huge shift and a huge change, our mind and our bodies don't know what to do with that. And we're used to, turning to, say, like food or lazy activity in order to just shut out the world and to shut out the situation that we're in. And carbohydrates are not only are they chemically very addictive to us, so it is psychologically. And at the beginning, when you take away those carbohydrates, you take away those coping mechanisms, your body screams out, your mind screams out, we scream out for that stuff to come back, because we're taking away that I don't mean this in an insulting way, but that crutch that allows us to be able to walk and just survive in this life. And now we're taking that away. And the body, especially around the carbohydrates, especially around those foods that make us feel good, even just for a moment, the body suddenly doesn't have that coping mechanism, that system that it needs. But it does go beyond that. You see, most of the hyper, ultra processed foods are designed to be addictive. They're taking advantage of natural processes in your body to make it so that food, you just have to have it. You must get it. And you have to get it. You have to have it. And so you crave like crazy to get that which your body is addicted to. And when you bring in healthy food, whatever those healthy foods are, they don't shut down immediately. They don't satisfy that craving right away. It can't. It's not designed that way. I mean, just take, say, just non-carnivore, just healthy eating in general. And we're used to having pizza and lasagna and hamburgers with all kinds of carbohydrates. And now we're going to replace that with a salad. The salad cannot compete with the okay, I am still alive. Anyways, the body cannot compete, or pardon me, the salad cannot compete with what the body is demanding or was getting through the carnivore. I can't talk. The salad cannot compete, meat cannot compete with the chemical high that unhealthy ultra processed foods deliver. Those ultra processed foods do not deliver nutrition, but they do deliver pleasure. And I think that at the beginning, we're so used to having all of that food or all of that stimulation that normal healthy food just doesn't cut it. Why do some people see fast results while others, man, they get stuck? And this is the what do they call this? A distribution spectrum. Some people can handle consuming milk while other people can't touch it. And then there's varying degrees within this one. What this has to do with the question of why are some people getting fast results while others they get stuck is that our bodies are very different. There's so much about our bodies that are absolutely the same, but there's a lot of variation within that similarity. And so some people, they just lose weight, it just melts off of them, and it's just, they barely have to try. I've noticed myself, if I even compromise a tiny little bit, I instantly get stuck. And I will not lose weight for like 6 weeks. I have to be 100% disciplined in order to maintain losing weight. If I compromise even a little bit, and I couldn't get over just like the tiny little things that will trigger my body to just hold on to fat. What I'm learning is that our bodies are a finely tuned machine to just the tiniest detail. You get one little granule of sugar into your body knows about it and will respond to it. A little granule of salt or anything, your body knows about it and responds to it immediately. In fact, if people who really know this would be people who have autoimmune diseases. I hear about this from Michaela Peterson, that if she even has, like, what is it, like the food was fried on a frying pan that had soy in the frying pan, her body will automatically react to that immediately, and she didn't even taste it. The other thing I'm learning is not only is there a distribution of distribution of how our bodies respond to changing our diets, but I'm learning that our bodies have more to do than just lose weight. Our bodies need to heal. I spent over 40 years eating food that was not healthy for me. And that my body wasn't able then to build and repair and recover nearly as well. So now all of a sudden I'm giving it all this really great nutrition. And sure, yes, the fat will come off, but the body is like, oh my goodness, I can heal these organs, I can heal these nerves, I can heal the blood vessels, I can heal. And that does take time. And so all of a sudden you'll plateau hard, just as you're just not losing weight. But the body is growing and changing and shifting and becoming better. I'm noticing that for a lot of people, getting to a healthy state takes a couple of years when you alter your body or alter your lifestyle dramatically. Still a couple of years for the body to adjust and catch up with those decisions because it has decades of repairing to do. Though I believe that if you were like 12 years old and altered your lifestyle and became healthier, that body will respond more quickly than if you're 50 years old. Because the 12-year-old is still growing. And so it's gonna change much more quickly than a 50-year-old who is not growing. I wish I was 5'4". Come on, give me a few more inches. So what's the big picture? Most beginners when they try to change their diet miss? What is the big picture? In a lot of ways, I think I was alluding to it in the question previous. We are changing our overall health altogether, and changing our lifestyle from being all about food and trying to stay healthy, trying to overcome our sicknesses, to now fueling our bodies, fueling our lifestyle, and becoming healthier in our bodies, in our spirit, and with the earth around us. We end up actually becoming much more in harmony with the earth around us. This is a whole picture. It's not just losing weight. It's not just gaining muscle. It's not just. Instead, it's this complete idea that we can have control over our health, and we can have harmony with creation, with the earth around us. We can actually have that. And we don't need to be in disharmony with the world around us. And we don't need great big authorities watching over top of us to make us be some certain way. Instead, we just need to take control of our own lives, educate ourselves, and then find the ways that make us better. And I have found that gaining control of my health and gaining control of my body has opened up more in my mind and my ability to learn and to grow. I love it. I love it. Struggles and doubts. As I was alluding to previously, why do cravings hit so hard in the first 30 days? Our bodies are not fat adjusted in the first 30 days. Our bodies are not protein adjusted in the first 30 days. Our bodies are completely dependent on the carbohydrates that we've been feeding it multiple times a day. Carbohydrates don't last in our bodies for very long, so we have to constantly pump it with more and more and more. And it takes time for the body to just align itself with this new path that we are on. It will get there. The body will get there, but it takes time. Once it gets there, you will find that your body will become stronger and will come alive. And there's going to be different road bumps, speed bumps along the way as your body heals and as it gets healthier. But that first 30 days can be quite a shock. In fact, in a lot of ways, I would suggest easing your way into healthy eating, into the carnivore diet over the course of 30 to 40 days, instead of doing it all at once in one big leap. That being said, still, you've got decades of unhealthy living for your body to heal. And so, yes, you're eating the food that you're eating, and it's good that you've made that change. But now it's got to kind of like it's like you've gotten stuck in the mud, way out here in the mud. You're driving a 4x4 machine, and you're stuck in the mud way back here, and you've got to reverse back out of it. And so the body, it's got to get out of that. It's gonna be messy, but it will get out of it, and you will be able to get out and get into a place where your body will function the way it is supposed to. Like, I know myself, man, I'm not supposed to be morbidly obese. That's not the design of my body. Evolution or creation, pick it, God or evolution. The design was never to be morbidly obese. It was designed for survival. And so it took once I started to eat properly, my body slowly lost the weight and it became much healthier. Now I still have a bit more weight to lose because I compromised, but I'm getting skinnier. I'm getting healthier. But it didn't happen all at once. I had to back out of that mess. And I'm still working on that. How do cravings often create slow results? This is big. This is big. Because you see, okay, so I had my compromise came from desire of pleasure. desire of appetite. It's my birthday. Come on, I can handle a piece of cake, right? I can have a just a normal meal. Normal. Well, yeah, I can have that normal meal. But now boom, I shut down my progress because I compromised. That was for appetite, yeah? A lot of us when we're really getting hit with those cravings and they come in hard, it can be, from what I understand, can even be painful, but at the very least relentless. And you feel it from the very deep inside of you. I was gonna say from the depths of your soul, but let's not be too crazy here. But you feel it from deep inside of you. You must have. And suddenly you get so tired of that fight, of that battle, that maybe just tonight, let me just ease this stupid pain, this craving just once, just tonight. And that slows the results. And I ain't pointing fingers. I ain't pointing fingers. Me too. I compromised. I compromised for my birthday. I compromised for Thanksgiving. I compromised for Christmas. Plus, I compromised as I traveled across the country to get to a new city and new province. I was about to say state. All those compromises took my results and slowed them right down, and in fact reversed it. I was trying to get out of the mud, and I drove right back into it again because it was easier just to press the gas. I'm thinking of driving so much, but it's just easier just to press the gas and just push. You're not getting anywhere, but that's easier than fighting your way back out of it. You know what I'm saying? What makes slow results feel so discouraging? And how do you push through? I know I was desperate. I had gotten to a place of desperation. I was I kind of had resigned myself to the idea that I guess I'm just going to be overweight and nothing's going to change. And then hope comes along and says, "No, no, 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 no. You can be better. You can actually get the result that you want." And so you're getting those results, and then all of a sudden they're not coming. And you are doing everything right. You're not like me. You didn't compromise. No, 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 no. You're doing it right. You totally did it right. And you're not getting the results. Like, what more do I have to do? Is how it can feel. And you look over here, and you see some of the famous carnivores. You see some of these people who are famously lost the weight, and you're just like, how come they didn't have to work this hard? And I'm doing everything right. Or you make one compromise, and your body just smacks you around, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. It's not fair. Because you see other people who compromise and they still get the results that you're after. A good buddy of mine, buddy he can eat so poorly, he doesn't gain any weight. It's frustrating because in a sense, I wish I could eat like he does, but I can't. I just can't, and it can feel really unfair. It can be really upsetting when you work very hard, do everything you're supposed to, or barely compromise, and it comes with either no results or a whole reversal of all the hard work you just put in. So how do you push through? It comes back to that simple goal thing. Having that simple goal. I first learned, okay, what goals could I even have? I was careful not to have crazy ideas, but to be as grounded and as in harmony with reality as I possibly could be. I needed to be focused. It's like, okay, if I'm going to do this, whatever it is I'm going to do, in this case, losing weight, can I even do this? At the time I was 48, I'm now 50. Is it really possible without having $1 million gym membership and eating $1 million food? Is this actually possible? Okay, it is. It is possible. I then zeroed in on the one goal. Just the one, and I learned everything about that goal that I needed to know, including the stalling. I researched like you wouldn't believe, and for me, research is YouTube. I looked up everybody that I possibly could. The professionals, the absolute experts, Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Anthony Chafee, Dr. Philip Ovadia, Carrie from Homestead How. That's a guy I would like to meet him one day. Just it would be so much fun to meet him. And I studied them and I learned, okay, here's what my goal is, and here's what is probable to happen along the way. I even knew about the compromise, and I still compromise because, people, I was about to say, well, it's everybody else's fault. I'll phrase it this way. I wanted to be able to participate in what I used to do before without it having the bad results. Not to mention, people will also encourage you to do that which they do. And they're not bad people. They're not. But there's a comfort in us doing things together, you know? So, on top of really learning everything, I also discovered the absolute importance of community, having enough people coming together and and doing the same thing that I'm doing as much as possible. And I couldn't find like a local group or anything like that. So I did focus on YouTube and just watched all the content that was coming out from Carrie from Homestead How, as he was the most average of the people. There was a few others I can't remember. Dave and No Carb Life or Low Carb Life or something like that. I can never remember the name of his channel. And then also like listening to Dr. Ken Berry and the community the question periods and stuff like that, and just trying to take in as much content from YouTube that was in line with the goal that I had. And working really hard not to listen to my feelings. All of that combined helped me to push through. Here's another one. This is so huge. All right, we failed. You and I, we failed. We compromised, we ate what we weren't supposed to, and now we failed. And the biggest temptation, especially early on, comes in this way. Well, I guess there's no point in doing this. May as well just give up anyways. It's just too hard. And I've learned, don't do that. Don't quit just because you failed today. Tomorrow's a brand new day. Ain't nobody judging you but you. So forgive you and step back up and do that which you are desiring to do. You want to lose weight? You can. You want to get healthy? You can. You want to make changes in your life? You can. And it's not about perfection. Forgive me the preaching, but it's not about perfection. It's about progress. As Sean Cannell says from Think Media, and it's not his saying, but it's where I learned it from. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes progress. So every day I get up and I practice what I want to do. And I want to eat better. That's it. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not even focusing on losing weight. No. I just want to be healthier. I want to do better. I want to be better. So I'm going to focus on that which is better, which is eating no ultra processed foods, no junk food of any kind. I won't do it. Even if all the results I got right now, I'm not going to lose any more weight. I'm not going to become any different than I am right now physically. I'm just going to keep this. Okay, then I'll stick with this because it's better than what I had in the past. I've been learning that. Just stay the course. Stay the course. It will work as long as we don't quit. Please don't quit. Failure happens when we quit. Does that make sense? Like, it's positive thinking, but there's power to it. There's absolute truth to it. If we quit when we have not been successful, when we want to be successful, we truly fail. We can be healthy. We can be healthier. At the very least, we can be healthier. And you may not have gotten it exactly right now, but don't quit. Stand back up and get at it again. Eat the way that you should. And that's what I've been doing. I've been really focusing, like even a little compromise, I won't do it. Just no compromise. It's paying off. It's really paying off. Why do beginners compare themselves to others? And Dr. Ken Berry or Carrie or Steak and Butter Gal Bella, and we compare. Well, in a lot of ways, I don't think that's wrong, because if I didn't see the success of Carrie, I wouldn't have been as easily convinced that maybe I could do this. And you look at Dr. Ken Berry, and he was very overweight and not healthy, and he got healthy. And Dr. Philip Ovedi, and pick your favorites. Maybe I'm saying a bunch of names you never even heard of before. So what are your favorites? Right? I mean, they inspire us. But the mistake I think we make, I'm just as guilty, is looking to be at their place right now. It's like it's like we're reading books, and Dr. Ken Berry's in chapter 100, and we're at chapter 3, and we're comparing our chapter 3 to his chapter 100. And it's just like, no, don't do that. We do start with, oh, Dr. Ken Berry, look at, he's gotten those results. We should do it too. And now walk your journey, walk your path, take your way to go there. You will get there. That's going to happen. Don't worry. It just may not necessarily be the way your favorite influencer does it or has done it. It's going to be your journey. And that's beautiful. That's really wonderful. That means you don't need to stress out that they are where you want to be. Instead, so much as take that as just inspiration. Talking about before, like, how do you push through? Another way of that pushing through is, hey, let's go back to Dr. Whoever, influencer, whoever, and let's watch again how they made it, how they did it. Let's do that again. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a really good idea. I really try not to look at other people's successes as a way to feel bad about myself. And I say try because there are days I do not succeed at this, but look at their successes and their journey to get to that place, to believe I can do it too. I can do this too. You can do this too. That's really the point. It's not about me, it's about you. You can do this too. And praise God for that. And this final question, which I think I've already talked about this really, but how do you keep hope alive when the scale doesn't move? Big one for me is the education. Understanding how my body works, how the human body works. Understanding where I'm coming from. Like, there's this amazing gentleman, his name is Bill Knott in Alaska. Buddy started out his carnivore weight loss, get healthier journey at over 700 pounds. He's going to have all kinds of stalls along the way. But how do I know that? Because I've studied. And Bill Knott, he studies and he learns and he keeps educating himself so that he can know the answer. And I think that in a lot of ways, yes, surround ourselves with the hope, with good influence around us. Maybe skip the cooking channel. Maybe don't do the cooking channel anymore. That might be, but surround that information of like, the hope and people who are doing it and the people you look up to, but educate yourself, get knowledgeable. Because, like, one of the things I've learned, even when I hadn't compromised, I did stall out on my weight loss journey, but I knew it was normal because I had heard the testimony of so many people who had gone on the same journey. And I listened to the doctors who understand the health, the experts, and mixing together. I knew, oh, yeah, I'm going to stall out. And that's okay. Nothing's wrong. And so inform yourself, get educated, and understand your body better than your doctor. I mean, at the end of the day, we got to live with our bodies. We got to live with ourselves. And having that knowledge, I think, is powerful. And we shouldn't let okay, let me phrase it this way. We live in a time of experts, meaning if you want your plumbing done in your house, you call an expert. You want your child taught how to drive, you call an expert. Anything to do with health in your body, you call an expert. And by no means am I suggesting that we should ignore and just, the experts are no good. It's not that so much as this. If we only are able to exist in this world by using experts, then when problems arise and there is no expert, nothing can be solved. You can't fix it. So what I'm trying to do, and here's what I'm suggesting, is that try to get as knowledgeable and as skillful as you possibly can. So that when things happen, you have a clue. And all of a sudden you go and you talk to somebody who is an expert, they cannot pull the wool over your eyes. And moreover, you can have an intelligent and engaging conversation that you're contributing to. Instead of just being told, take these pills, exercise, move more, eat less, and you just take this advice blindly, you actually can know what you're talking about, what you're listening to. And this is powerful. I've been learning this just all over the place. Okay, I digress. So transformation. Oh yeah. Okay. Where were some of the what were some of the real results I noticed early on in my own journey? I'll be very specific here. I've kind of stated it a couple of times already. But the big one was just, I lost weight. I lost in the first couple of months, I want to say like something like 20 pounds. It just poured off of me. The way I was eating before, I was trying to not eat as much, try to be careful, don't eat too much, right? That's the way we've been taught. Move more, eat less. I changed the what I was eating. I changed what I was eating. And the weight melted off. It was gone. And that was a big result. And that made me feel really good. Then, back pain. I was on the carnivore diet for 2 weeks and my back pain gone. I knew it wasn't just weight loss that caused that back pain to go away. That didn't make any sense. I was still very overweight. How is my back pain gone? I had come to understand that the reason why my back was getting sore is that I sat for a living and I did it for 16, 17 hours. Well, I did it all day long and then slept at night. My back was just not getting used all that much. So I thought my back is just getting weak. I didn't think I had some kind of birth defect or anything of that nature. It was just inactive lifestyle. 2 weeks on the carnivore diet. Sure, I lost, 2 weeks on the carnivore diet. I lost, I saw like 8, 10 pounds. I don't know what it was, 8 pounds. I forget. But not enough to affect the pain in my back. If it was just weight that was causing the issue, or if it was laziness causing the issue. It was just gone. I could stand around for 2 hours, walk for 2 hours. I was tired because I still had a shape. It was gone. Heartburn. I had heartburn so bad. And it was daily, all night long. Oh, no, that's exaggeration. It was every day and not uncommon to get woken up at night with heartburn, right? And it happened so often. I don't know, five times a week, probably. And so, Tums, eating Tums like crazy, or just sometimes just suffer it out, because I know Tums are not that good for you. But when you've, been up all night and you're trying to sleep, you do what you do, right? You do what you have to try and solve the problem. And then another big one that really surprised me. I was not expecting it. That's brain fog. I did not know that I had brain fog, unclear thinking. Like my mind was not able to think something through all the way and complete a thought, complete an idea, just complete. Okay. And I ate, so I ate meat. I got onto the carnivore diet and stayed faithful to it for like 6 months. And I suddenly realized it caught me off guard. I was really surprised by it. I was like, wait a second. I'm reading this entire page and not getting distracted. I'm looking. I'll just stick with that. Just I'm reading article after article. I'm not getting distracted. Freak, I'm reading. I'm lazy when it comes to reading. I'm very lazy and not motivated. And for the most part, let me watch movies. Let me, at the most, I'll listen to an audiobook, right? There's, but there's no focus. I still have ADHD. That hasn't gone away. But my mind just getting clearer and the symptoms around ADHD decreasing. I did not expect that. I ended up doing a bunch of research and trying to figure out what was going on, and I came to understand that high fat, protein rich diets, high animal fat, protein rich diets actually have a massive positive effect on the brain and the brain's function. There's a whole oh my goodness, I gotta make a live stream about that. Just the whole thing about mental health. It gets better. I wasn't expecting that. How did dropping pant sizes and tightening belts show progress beyond the scale? Well, I got to do better with these questions. Well, okay. One of the things I've noticed with a lot of us who are trying to lose weight is that we just focus on the pounds, the kilos. We stand on the scale, and it just it's like nothing's happening. But muscle is heavier than fat, and fat is lighter than muscle, and all that kind of stuff, right? And so having more than one way of knowing whether or not what you're doing is being successful is powerful. So all of a sudden, I needed a new belt. Not for fashion, but because it was too big. I was freaking excited. My belt was too big. Yes! Bought myself a brand new belt. Now I'm actually in need of a fourth belt because it's gotten too big again. It's so cool, and it's like a trophy. If you know what I mean, yeah, I did that, and that's evidence that I did that. It's like for YouTubers, they'll get that silver play button, the gold play button. It's like, dude, you got a million people stop by to listen to what you got to say, and here's something that just shows you that it celebrates it. It's so cool, and the pants getting too big. My pants are so ugly right now because I'm actually too small for them. And I'm waiting till I get to the proper size before I go and get something new where it'll actually fit me properly. But it's really cool. It's like a good problem because before my belt was having to grow and I have to buy a new belt because my previous belt was too small and too small and too small. And I felt that lack of control. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't stay up all night partying. All these classic bad for your health kind of things. All I do is just eat food, and I don't eat copious amounts of it. I'm not eating all day long. In fact, I don't even eat breakfast. My first meal's at 12, 11. I was about to say 11, but it's more like 12 to 2 will be my first meal back then. Even now, it's the same thing. Why am I overweight? Why won't it stop? It was really exciting seeing that kind of progress. Why do so many people report more energy, better sleep, and less brain fog? And so I alluded to this before where it was like learning how your body works. And this is what I was learning. Again, I'm no expert. I'm just a fan. I like not being sick. I really like it. So here's this. Here's this. Why do so many people report this? Our bodies are made up of cholesterol, protein, calcium minerals, and water, and salt. Got to put some salt in there, and a very, 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 very tiny amount of carbohydrates. And you start eating in harmony with that, giving the body what it actually needs, you're going to get huge results. Because now the body doesn't have to, how do I say this? Like, it's like you're trying to, you're, like I'm trying to go for computers, but building actually makes more sense to me. It's like you're trying to build a house, but everybody keeps bringing the wrong materials. And you can make it work. You can kind of build the house sort of, but It's not as good, it's not as strong, and it doesn't last as long, and you got to constantly repair it, and it's just not as good. But if people bring you proper materials, man, and I'm not being, well, maybe I'm being corny, but it's exactly the way our bodies are. Our bodies are made up of cholesterol, protein, fat. And when we eat that and give our bodies that, our bodies are able to repair and get into alignment with its design, the way it's supposed to function. And all of a sudden, the brain just comes alive because it's getting the cholesterol, it's getting the fat. Whatever repairs that need to be made in the brain can actually happen without a whole bunch of extra steps. Did you hear this? Did you hear this? Did you hear this? That Alzheimer's is now being classed as type 3 diabetes. And the reason why that's good news is that if we stop eating carbohydrates, which leads to insulin resistance, we could maybe prevent Alzheimer's from ever happening to us, even if our family has a history of Alzheimer's. Because it's not some total mystery. It's the brain has become unresponsive to insulin. So all of a sudden, I get rid of like no more carbohydrates in my body, no more type 3 diabetes possibly. I mean, I can't make a definitive statement because it hasn't gone that far, the research. But here's the thing. Here's a thing. I used to be pre-diabetic, and I'm not anymore. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. Check this out. Check this out. I would have I got into drinking a lot of Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke, whichever, right? And I started drinking that because my waistline was getting bigger, and so I started drinking that to try and cut down on calories. It was totally not effective, but it's what I did, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I grabbed myself a regular pop like I used to buy. I just decided I wanted one. And I started drinking that thing. I got about a quarter of the way into it, and I started feeling sick as a dog. Just as sick as a dog. I didn't think anything of it. I thought, I'm just not used to it. Okay, okay, okay. So I got, I tried it again, and I tried it again, and same results every time. Just sick, just absolutely sick. As long as I stuck to um, savory carbs and stuff like that, I didn't get the same feeling. But when I drank that pop, Lord have mercy. I later discovered and came to learn that that's pre-diabetes. And what was happening is I was spiking my sugar like crazy, but the body was having a hard time getting it to come back down again. And it was just staying up there. And I was getting flooded with all kinds of insulin in my bloodstream and in my body, leading to this sickening feeling. And it wouldn't be long, I learned, before I would have full-blown diabetes. Like, the way I felt is I had led a very disciplined life when it came to how I conducted myself morally. So what if I have some pop? It's not a moral thing, yet I was getting the results of bad living and bad choices. And I felt like a victim. It's not good. It's not good. It's not a good way to look at things, but it's how I felt. And so when when I got when I started to eat properly, that not ADHD, but that pre-diabetic reaction stopped. I accidentally bought myself a regular pop one day. There's a whole story around it, but whatever. I bought it, right? Started drinking, didn't even notice anything. Save the taste was a bit different, but I'm working, I'm busy, and finally I looked at the actual drink and I was like, oh, whoops. But I didn't feel sick. And when I came to understand what diabetes actually is, I realized, oh, I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. I'm not going to have diabetes because I'm not consuming copious amounts of carbohydrates, which spikes my sugar, which spikes my insulin, and causes insulin resistance. Interesting stuff, interesting stuff. Now, I've got down here, what's the difference between real food and ultra-processed foods? Now, okay, so non-carnivore. Real food is food that you could get from your garden, get from the land, or produce it in your kitchen relatively easily. We could argue that like flour in and of itself is ultra processed, but I will say, this is my opinion, just my opinion, that if 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 Americans went ahead and said no more grocery store except to pick up the basic flour, sugar, meat, fat, no more seed oils and stuff like that, just those things, okay? And went back to just cooking from the kitchen, that's the only place they were able to get food from, that our waistlines would drop significantly. I really think so. I think a lot of the reasons why our waistlines are getting as big as they are is because of the ultra processed foods. And then on top of the waistlines, you get all the just the sickness in general. And I think, yeah, the ultra processed food. So like seed oils would qualify as an ultra processed food. Margarine, ultra processed. And then, go from there. You can like, your pastas, those box meals that are full of like just food that'll last in the box for years and not go bad, ultra processed. So I think that if we went back and just did from the garden, from the land and our kitchen, if we got food that looks like that, like you can grow bell peppers in your garden. You really can. Most of us don't. We're not going to, but we can. And it doesn't take a huge amount of factories to make that happen. But the carnivore diet, I think, is the ultimate of that. If we eat the carnivore meal, you can get everything that you eat carnivore from the land. There's plenty of people that raise their own chickens, raise their own cows, sheep, goats, whatever, and they eat that which they raise, and they have that. If we did that, what our health does, I mean, I've been doing it, and I don't eat fancy, expensive food, right? Pork, ham, bacon, eggs, chicken, and the low grade stuff. And my health has gone through the roof. Just simple food, real food. Ultra processed foods don't carry a lot of nutrition in them. Yes, they do artificially put uh, uh, vitamins and stuff like that into that food, but your body cannot absorb that very well. It does, but it's not good. Where if you eat a piece of meat, especially fatty meat, your body absorbs 98% of that. That's incredible. And that may sound like, well, then wouldn't you get fat if you're eating all of that food and it's being absorbed to that level? No, because what happens is that you get full much more quickly and you stay satiated, because this is what I've been learning. When we eat like ultra processed foods and as a carnivore, I'll argue, your fruits, your vegetables, and all those kind of things, but you eat those kind of foods, your body will fill up physically, and so it'll feel full in a sense, but very quickly your body is like, but I need nutrients, and so hunger hits us. One, because of the carbohydrate crash, but two is because of the lack of nutrition that's in that food that we gave it. Now all of a sudden you move over to meat, animal fat meat, hot diggity dog. Your body is getting the nutrition that it needs in the proportions that it needs it, and it just lasts. And all of a sudden, you're like eating once a day. In fact, this is actually a real problem with those on the carnivore diet. Some, not everybody, but some actually struggle to eat enough. They actually end up eating too little, and so they got to go back and eat more food. Like, oh please, I got to eat extra. And what they end up doing sometimes is eating multiple times a day in order to make sure they eat enough, because they actually undereat. It's really neat. Where if I was to go to McDonald's, um, or I shouldn't pick on McDonald's. I'll just say let's just go with, like, say, Burger King, any fast food joint, right? And how many of us we got there in the morning? Maybe we're really disciplined. We're going to eat 3 times a day. We eat in the morning. We're hungry by noon. We're hungry by supper time, and there's snacks in there too. I don't snack. I don't need to. I mean, sometimes I want to. I'll be like, oh man, I want to have a piece of cheese. Why? Because it just tastes good. But I don't crave it. And I'm not desperate for it. And I'm noticing that everybody that's on the carnivore diet, especially, there's ketovore and carnivore, that just no carbohydrates. They actually do not find themselves hungry one meal a day. 1 to 2 meals a day. Can I count? 1 to 2 meals a day. And that's it. And what's also fascinating is the ability to fast. Oh, I got to do a live stream about fasting. Anyways, why do healthy packaged foods often keep people sick instead of helping them get well? Okay, so if we're eating like if I eat like a Mars bar, if I eat like a chocolate bar, candy bar, that's clearly not healthy, right? We're eating that purely for pleasure's sake. Ain't nobody fooled by that. Though some will say, well, yeah, but if you can get the peanuts in there, that's healthier. Hmm. I mean, it is healthier than, say, just straight up sugar in the sense of a carbohydrate, sugar spike in your blood. But a lot of healthy foods, the way that they accomplish the idea of healthiness is no animal fat, less salt, and I guess that would be those are the big things. And obviously no, and they get rid of the animal protein. Well, then what are you going to do to make that food palatable, especially to get you and I to eat it more than once? Because I mean, I'll try anything once. I've had liver and onions. I freaking hate liver and onions. That stuff is freaking gross. You cannot convince me to eat that again. And so, if you don't want that reaction to the food that you make, well, what do? And so, what they do is they pack it with sugar. They pack it with seed oils. They still add a little bit of salt. That does take place. And then the food has a bunch of stuff in it that the body cannot use. Like our bodies don't have a lot of bacteria to be able to break down cellulose. I mean, fiber, we can't do anything with that. It just fills up our system and it has to be pushed through. That's all it does. We get nothing from that. And then when it comes to the different minerals in those healthy packaged foods, our bodies, like I was saying before, our bodies just can't absorb it. It's not able to absorb it. And then it's not uncommon that when they have the particular minerals or nutrients that we need, it's the wrong form of it. So the body has to take it and then convert it to the form that it needs and then be able to use it. That takes energy. If our bodies get the nutrients that it needs in the form that it needs it, that's what makes it bioavailable. It takes way less energy. And now all of a sudden, it just works. It just works. It's good. And our bodies do better. It does better. So why do healthy packaged foods often keep people sick, or in some cases make people sick? Because it doesn't have what the body needs. It just doesn't. And I mean, how many of us have consumed the diet this, the keto that, and our waistlines stay the way they are? We're hungry and we're tired and we're bloated and our arthritis isn't going away and our IBS isn't going away and our heartburn continues and on and on and on. Like, it doesn't have the nutrition that our bodies need, and it doesn't have it in the form that it needs it. Now, some people will say that we need carbohydrates. That's actually okay. That is true. Our bodies need carbohydrates. That's absolutely true. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Our bodies, through the liver, produce all the carbohydrates our bodies will ever need. In other words, you could choose to never eat another plant ever again and omit carbohydrates 100%. You will not die. You'll get stronger. I mean, I don't eat carbohydrates. Actually, you know what? Take Dr. Ken Berry, or I was thinking Dr. Anthony Chaffee. Buddy is hardcore. He doesn't eat plants at all. He doesn't eat carbohydrates at all. He's been doing it for years. He's not sick. Because there are certain organs in the body that require carbohydrates. They have to have it, and the body produces glucose. And if our bodies needed the carbohydrate and our bodies couldn't produce the carbohydrate, then those systems in our bodies, some cells in the brain, I think there's some cells in the eye. I don't know them. Not a biologist, not a doctor. But if we didn't produce that carbohydrate that we need, those systems would fail. They would shut down. And here's another big one. What about the vitamin C? I mean, it was famous that the Europeans, when they were sailing across the Atlantic and making their way to North America, that the sailors and the slaves would end up getting scurvy. And it was discovered that it was a vitamin C deficiency. And what I'm learning is that deficiency happened and was very pronounced because of all the carbohydrates they were eating. Because what I was learning is that carbohydrates are absorbed into the cell similarly as vitamin C. And so you have to have higher amounts of vitamin C to compensate for the competition that the carbohydrate, can you see my head? That the carbohydrate represents to, or brings to the cell and to the absorption of vitamin C. There's a competition with the carbohydrate. But if you omit carbohydrates 100%, then the body is only going to produce a tiny, tiny amount. And so the vitamin C that you need is way, way, way less, and it gets absorbed. And all of that is available in the meat. You don't need oranges. You don't need limes. You don't need, there's different plants that produce a lot of vitamin C. That being said, if we end up with scurvy, yes, a quick way of getting some vitamin C to counteract that is just going to a plant. Certain plants have a ton of it. Anyways, all of that to say that the packaged foods, the ultra processed foods, don't provide what we need, but the animal fat, the animal protein, living off the land, that gives us what we need. We don't need the factory. We don't need great big companies that charge us way too much freaking money. Oh, this question is, why is focusing on meat simpler than calorie counting or macros, like counting all the different nutrients that you're trying to take in? This is especially important when you're a vegan, a vegetarian, even an omnivore. You have to really pay attention because the different plants counteract different nutrients that you're taking in. Not to mention, if you are focusing on calories, you got to really pay attention to how many calories you're taking in. Otherwise, you end up becoming overweight. But meat, I mean, all you got to do is just eat it. You really don't have to pay attention to the macros or the calorie counting because the body is going to absorb it. Though there is a place for calorie counting for those who are coming from a lifestyle of under eating. They've always under ate. And so the calorie counting can sometimes let the person know, yes, okay, I have eaten enough, or oh, no, I got to eat a bit more because I haven't consumed enough. That is one place I found that yes, calorie counting does make sense. There's this Kelly Hogan from No Carb Life, I think it's called. She talked about that, where it's like these ladies, they've been eating, sometimes they get their calories down to 600 calories trying to lose weight, and they've just lived like this. And now the carnivore diet comes along, and it's just like they just continue that habit of under eating. So they're like, okay, let's see where we should be eating and how much. And for some, they find that they have to stick to it just to maintain that habit, to build that that lifestyle. Me, I've never calorie counted, and everybody that I follow on YouTube around the carnivore diet and weight loss, they don't calorie count. They eat until they're comfortably stuffed, and then they don't eat again until the next day or until they're actually hungry. And that's a big one. learning how to read your body signals. Your body is really, really well designed, very well designed. And you don't need, how do I say this? Okay. Our bodies are very, very well designed. And we don't need all kinds of schedules to make sure that we eat at the proper times and the right amounts and stuff like that, because our body is designed to work in the wild. You eat when you're hungry, and you actually learn what hunger actually is versus boredom or fear or sadness or excitement, celebration, and stuff like that. Like a lot of us, we eat for emotional reasons and social reasons. And the body is designed to eat for nutrition reasons, nutrient reasons, nutrient, whatever. It needs nutrition so the body gets hungry. And what I'm learning is that when you learn to eat that way, you don't need to be counting everything. Your body talks to you, you can actually listen to it. It's really cool. It's really cool. It makes things a lot easier. And then this is a big one. Like, how is carnivore sustainable long term? Right? Eating meat all the time. How could you possibly sustain that? Well, one of the fears for eating like a lot of meat is that it's going to get super expensive. But the thing is, you're eating far fewer meals. And like, once every 40, every 24 hours. In some, it's once every 48 hours. Myself, I sometimes will go 5 days and not eat. But that's a weight loss. That's a weight loss strategy. But you're eating once a day. You don't need all the snacks. You don't need all the spices. You don't need all the dishes. You don't need to spend tons of time in the kitchen. Like, there's a whole host of side effects eating this way that has to do with the kitchen and the rest of the house. Your budget just really becomes smaller because you don't need all these extras. And then there was some people, they say, well, what if you get tired of that meal? Well, that means you're not hungry. You don't need to eat. And so some people don't like fast for 3 days, and then all of a sudden they go to have the meal they were bored of yesterday. Ooh, boy, does it taste good. And then we learn, our taste buds and our bodies actually realign, and they become in harmony with eating that one type of meal. Okay. We learn how to like beer, we learn how to like cigarettes, we learn how to like coffee, and our bodies line up with that and come to crave it. Well, what if we took that ability to adopt and move that over towards the food that we eat? I mean, you go back in history, people lived long lives once they got past childhood. Once they got past childhood, I forget what the age is, like 9 or 10 or something like that. Once they get past that age, they live normal lives, and they didn't eat a lot of variety. They didn't have access to it, like the Inuit in northern Canada and Alaska. They didn't have access to all kinds of different types of food. The First Nations, the Native Americans, that lived in the plains of the United States. I don't remember what tribes are in that, but they didn't eat a lot of variety, and they lived long lives. And they just ate, and they did fine living off the buffalo. And the only way plants came into their diet was for the purposes of medicine and to stave off starvation. You got to be careful when you're trying to stave off starvation with plants, because the vast majority of plants will make you very sick, or worse. Or worse. They did consume some berries in the summertime, just only ones that they could, that was safe to eat, and that was it. Oh yeah, this is big. So like, why is carnivore not just a diet but a lifestyle shift? Veganism, vegetarianism, um, keto, these are all lifestyle changes. When we decide that, hey, I'm going to be a vegan now, it's often a multi-layered decision. And actually, I've noticed for a lot of people, health is actually at the bottom of the list. It's all these other things that they're trying to get their lives in harmony with, in alignment with, so that they can get it, become true to what they believe. And so it's a lifestyle shift. They're not just dieting just to fix something temporarily. They're going to live like this forever. And carnivore is insane thinking. caring about the environment, caring about animals. Yes, 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 it's absolutely true. Those people who care about animals, absolutely carnivore is the way to go. Whole video to be made on that. Your health, budget, these all come into consideration, and it's like your whole lifestyle changes and shifts from being all about food to being all about living, and it is a lifestyle choice. Carrie from Homestead How, his one of his daughters was super vegan and did it for the purposes of protecting animals and in harmony with her care of animals, because that didn't change. They decided to do a certain style of carnivore in order to satisfy the care of the planet and the care of animals, and to satisfy her health needs and the needs of any human. And so, yeah, it is a lifestyle shift. You're not going to just, well, for the next couple of weeks or next couple of months or a year, take on this lifestyle to then go right back to the lifestyle that led us to the problems that we were trying to escape. It's big. It's really, really big. And I was talking before about like how you stay motivated. And so this the big picture is more important than the daily details. So like if we make mistakes, or sometimes we lose sight of like why we're doing what we're doing, it is it is it is vitally important to have that bigger image, that bigger picture, that vision. There's what I was looking for. That vision of what we're trying to do. Yes, I want to get healthier. That's absolutely true. But I want to be there for my grandchildren. I want to be able to build a business. I want to, I don't want to get my life cut short because of health. But you know, if we want to support the local farmer, one of the best ways to do that is to adopt the carnivore diet and go get our meat from the local farmer. Skip the grocery store altogether and just go right to the farmer. Absolutely. Because we talk about how, in order to care about the environment, let's stop eating from around the globe, which puts out huge amounts of carbon, but pollution into the environment. And let's move that to where we eat within 100 miles of our home, and it's doable. Unless the city you live in is 100 miles across, maybe that you might have to go to 200 miles, but you're not eating from 3,000 miles away or 9,000 miles away. I mean, at the end of the day, when we go for a trip, the first time we taste a mango should be when we go to the Philippines or Mexico. Like, that's when we should taste a mango for the first time. I don't think that mangoes or avocados or coconuts should be available in the local grocery store, because they have to travel thousands of miles with all kinds of infrastructure to get that from where it's grown to where it's eaten. Like, no, it's not good. That the getting our health together and taking better care of the planet. Yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, the challenges that we face in our culture today is because we have gotten too focused on like ourselves, instead of having the bigger picture. I mean, America became what it did and what it has become because everybody was bought into that bigger picture, that bigger vision. Imagine if we bought in as a culture to the bigger vision of health and care for the planet, and not going after propaganda, not that. And testing everything that gets said. I'm going to test this. Like, is this really true? Is this really true? Even, guy like me, I can start a conversation, but I definitely can't finish it. But like, what is true? I want to know what's true. I want to be in harmony with what's true, because I want the results of what true gives me. Because the harmony, the results of truth is 1,000% better than the results of lies. To say that in a really dramatic way. And the next question I got in here is, why is it freeing to think about food this way? I think it's freeing because of what it does for our health to start off with. our health improves. And when you are healthy, you can do so much more. If you're a poet, but you're racked with like migraine headaches and diabetes, and your body is fighting to stay alive, the creativity of the word is impossible. To think about food this way, food then, instead of it becoming some kind of thing about pleasure, it becomes about feeding our bodies so that we can go do what we were designed to do: create, build, relationship, vision. And yes, spiritual, that's true, but I mean vision and, like, creating something bigger than ourselves, creating those wonderful things that are so I'm trying to say like so wonderful, but yeah, like thinking about food this way frees our mind from 3 times a day being distracted by what am I going to eat, or 6 times a day, and spending time, so much time, just in sustaining ourselves with food, to once a day. And yeah, I mean, you can fast and it's way easier. And now you get like 5 days there where you're not even thinking about food at all, and your mind can focus on all kinds of other things. And I have to admit that when I do long fasts like that, at the latter part of the fast, my thinking really gets better. I'm sitting here going like, going carnivore. Um, Going carnivore made me, how do I say this? Made me made my I lost the brain fog. But when you do a fast and you get into a state of ketosis, it's just your brain becomes even stronger, much stronger. And I wonder, like with the ADHD symptoms and ketosis, I wonder what effect ketosis really does have on ADHD. I'd love to see studies done on that. That'd be neat. That would be really, really neat. What do I say to someone who feels they'll never see results? Here's what I'll say. Your body is not like everybody else's exactly. The human species, it's amazing how much we have in common as people. You do need to eat, you do need to sleep, you do need exercise, all those kinds of things, right? But how the body will respond to each one of these things that we all need, there's where variation lies. And I mean, someone who is 6'9" is going to require more nutrition than myself at 5'4". And then a young lady requires different nutrition. Say, a young lady who's 18 is going to require different nutrition than an older lady at 81. What their bodies are going to need, there's going to be that variation. Um, Stay the course. Stay the course, because your body is going to respond the way that it needs to. And don't go back to the lifestyle and the way that you ate and the way that you did things that got you to the place you didn't want to be, and you regret it and you didn't like it. You shift, and it'll take time, but it will be better than going back to what you were trying to escape. I don't want to be diabetic again. I don't want to be obese again. I don't want back pain. I definitely don't want arthritis. I have no arthritis in my body anywhere. Praise God. I'm so happy about that. Because I see people who suffer with it. It's horrible. My wonderful family, my sister and brother-in-law, they have 2 cats, three cats. 2 of them are overweight and are all gimped up with arthritis. I don't want that. There's a conversation to be had about that. I got to try and remember about that conversation about our pets and the diseases that they're getting. But I don't want those results. So I'm sticking to this so I can get the results I do want. And even if I may never have perfect BMI, maybe I could have good. Maybe I could have decent. That sure as heck is better than bad BMI, awful BMI. You know what I mean? So yeah. And we got to make sure that we do measure our progress beyond the scale. So I have one of these fancy scales that measures the weight, it measures my body fat and skeletal muscle and water, you name it. It measures all of that. But also get like a measurement for your waist and take pictures every 3 months. Every 3 months. I mean, if you're 250 pounds and you're supposed to be 140 pounds, every 3 months, or maybe at the beginning every couple of weeks, but eventually I say every 3 months or once a month, take pictures of yourself so that you can see the progress. Your eyes will go, oh, I see that. Look at what I used to look like. Look at where my health used to be, and now my health is way over here. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it can be good. And that's really, really great. And what this does is it does give us encouragement with all the positive videos and all the carnivore communities. And at some point I want to build one as well, just to be a part of encouraging and helping us get healthier. It is very powerful to have some way of looking and seeing our progress. That's one of the reasons why there is even a scale, is to see the condition of our body and to see progress. But I can go so much further. Thank you, Lord, for photographs and being able to look back at stuff. When you're a beginner, on your weight loss journey, on your health journey, what you should hold on to first and foremost is that original vision, that original reason why you were getting onto this in the first place. And this has to do with like that kind of that big picture stuff, but a lot of it can also be just simple. You know, getting into an airplane and you don't need 2 chairs no more. You know, you're like, for me, I was so embarrassed, like trying to get out of a couch. I want to go back to that. I want to be healthy so that when I'm sitting in a couch, it doesn't take a great big ceremony just getting out of the couch or getting into it. You know, hold on to your why you got started with this, and what you're leaving behind. What are you leaving behind when it comes to this journey? Where are you going? What are you leaving behind? Where are you going? And notice what you've already accomplished. And it can be sometimes just the simplest thing. No more heartburn. I don't want that heartburn no more. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We do not have to be sick. This is the theme of my channel. You do not have to be sick. You can be healthy. You can have a healthy body. You don't have to be stuck in a world of, just sickness. Just to say it in a simple way, there is a better way, and you can have that better way. You just do it. You don't have to be sick. We don't have to be sick. There really is a way out of this. And I'm so excited about that. If you like the content that I'm creating here, there's going to be more of this. I'm going to be doing more live streams, and as I get better practice, I'm going to be putting up regular videos of just information, stories, and just encouragement. And we get together and we stay the course. We don't have to be alone. You can do this. And you're worth the work that you're putting into yourself for this, not to mention, for many of us, it is for the people around us. They're worth it too. You're worth it. Let's stay this course. I hope that you like this program, like this live stream. Please like it and subscribe. And I hope you have an amazing night. God bless you. Bye for now.